and Bones Society is founded in 1832 by 15 seniors at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. They establish a secret society with rules and rituals that remain unchanged to this day.
Well, secrecy has always been extremely important to Skull and Bones, but there's been a schizophrenic kind of aspect to it. For instance, throughout the early 1900s, the New York Times would often publish, sometimes on the front page, the names of the new Skull and Bones initiates. And the Yale class books would, up until the 1960s, publish the names of each class of Skull and Bones. Still, even though their identities were known, what they did inside the tomb was still supposed to be top secret.
The tomb is the Skull and Bones Clubhouse, a 3-story, almost windowless brownstone on High Street.
When I was an undergraduate, and I lived next to it, it's a very spooky kind of place, and you could project all sorts of fantasies about what sort of spooky and horrific things were going on inside, just from the sense it gave of the intimidating kind of aura it had.
10 years after he graduates in 1968, Ron Rosenbaum sets out to penetrate the confines of this secret society.
You would hear all sorts of stories about the initiations that went on, the kind of horrific psychodramas that they would put the initiates through. You were supposed to be able to hear screams, blood-curdling screams coming out of the tomb of Skull and Bones. And there were tales of strange sexual confession encounter groups, guys lying naked in coffins, wrestling in mud piles.
Rosenbaum attempts to interview the Bonesmen themselves, but most refuse. Instead, he gathers information from people close to the members, particularly girlfriends who have been given secret information, and some of whom have even been allowed inside. They describe an interior with all the trappings of a late Victorian Gothic fantasy. There is heavy, dark furniture, medieval armor, animal heads, and everywhere there are skulls and bones, including a skeleton bonesmen call Madame Pompadour.
If you listen to what people have said who've had some experience of that secret society, the Skull and Bones, it is more than just a talking shop. It involves the worship of the skull.
A number of reports say that there are niches with human skulls, and whose skulls they are. They're supposedly the skulls of famous people, and there's one skull that was labeled the skull of Geronimo. The reason why skulls and bones figure so prominently in it is a kind of strain of imagery that dates back to Masonic societies in Germany, in which it was important for a youth to contemplate his death.
The Skull and Bones initiation ceremony is said to be held in April in the tomb's basement. One distinguished member serves as master of ceremonies. Once enrobed, he is known as Uncle Toby. The shortest senior is appointed Little Devil and dons a satanic costume. A bonesman with a deep voice is dressed as Don Quixote. Another is dressed as the college's founder, Elihu Yale. Still another is given papal vestments. It would all be rather funny if it weren't for the fact that among the former bonesmen are 3 presidents: William Howard Taft, George Bush, George W. Bush, numerous senators and ambassadors, industrialists like William Whitney, CIA agents, State Department officials, and publishing magnate Henry Luce.
For close to 2 centuries, Skull and Bones has produced the stewards and leaders of the American ruling class, the Eastern establishment, elite core of diplomats, spies, Supreme Court justices, senators, presidents.
The Skull and Bones Society seems to be particularly important for bringing American elite bloodline young people into the web and being initiated into the web.
college with Bush? Were you in the same secret society as Bush? Were you in Skull and Bones? Thank you for cutting my mic. Thank you. Are you going to arrest me? Excuse me. Excuse me. What are you arresting me for? Whoa, 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 whoa. Is anybody watching this? I'm not doing this. I want you to get off me. Get off me. Hey. Get off me. Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing? What is going on? What is going on? I want to stand and listen to you answer my question. Why are you arresting me for asking me? Help! 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 Are you kidding? They're arresting me! Help!
Unfortunately, he's not dead to come up here and swear me in as president.
Why are they arresting me? Did someone do something here?
Let me just
I'm
say
being
that.
arrested.
Because it's a very important question.
What did I do? Get off me! You know what? Get off me! Get the off me, man! I didn't do anything! Tase me, bro! Don't tase me! I didn't do anything! Ow! 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 Let me go! Let me go! Let me go!
Why? Why are you doing that?
Oh my God!
Running when we hit lethal poison for the system. Pirate skulls and bones. M.I.A, third world democracy. Yeah, I got more records than the KGB. So, no funny business.
Aspartame, the artificial sweetener found in almost every low sugar or sugar-free product on the market.
First of all, aspartame is made up of three things: methanol, which of course is what produces blindness, aspartic acid, and phenylalanine. These are all poisons. Aspartic acid, of course, produces brain lesions. This was known back in the early 1970s. Methanol produces blindness. Phenylalanine is what you see certain in the brain, and in high dosage it produces trauma.
We're not making this all up. The FDA did publish back in, I think it was in the 80s, they did publish the 92 potential side effects of aspartame. And they do, these side effects are quite, are extremely serious. Things like dizziness, problems with balance, abdominal pain and cramps, changes in vision, seizures and convulsions, etc., etc.
So the nervous system seems to be one of the areas that's most affected. So we see people have difficulty thinking. They feel like they're walking around in a cloud or a fog.
Yet despite all of these harmful effects, Donald Rumsfeld pushed it out into the stores in over 5,000 products when he was CEO of Searly, the company that manufactured it.
Years, but never before has there been more talk than that fluoridating our water might be a bad idea and a health risk. Tonight, Dennis Ferrier has the latest developments on a story that impacts all of us.
Joey Hensley is a respected physician. He's also a Tennessee state lawmaker. He is now combining those two professions to make a very strong point.
We've been doing it 50 years, but just because we've been doing something 50 years doesn't necessarily mean that it's right.
Hensley's talking about something most of us don't even think about, fluoridating water. After much research, the doctor has sent out a letter to every water district in Tennessee asking them to stop fluoridating water. The evidence, he says, fluoride works better when you rub it on your teeth, not when you drink it. That fluoridation is medication added to water without your permission, and that's wrong. But most of all, because the National Research Council believes young children are getting 3 to 4 times the dose of fluoride as adults. And now the American Dental Association is telling mothers not to make baby formula with fluoridated water because of fear of dental fluorosis.
And that's big news, and that really hasn't been publicized very much.
Health researcher Dan Stockin believes that this ADA warning about baby formula and fluoride is just the beginning.
The ramifications of this are so huge, I'm sure that the state health department hasn't quite figured it out yet. Because see, once the door cracks, and it is now for what it does to teeth, the next group, one of the next groups that's going to start raising their hands and saying, what about us, is people who are on dialysis and people who have borderline kidney damage and impairment. Then there's all the people that have hypothyroidism.
Scientists like Nobel Prize winner Arvid Carlson and a large group of EPA scientists have called for the banning of fluoride because we don't know how much we're ingesting, so we don't know if we're being poisoned.
There are so many potential legal things about to happen that as a taxpayer, I think it would be really, really smart for the water districts and the Metro Nashville. Look, just if people want fluoride, let them use fluoridated toothpaste and spit it out. But don't go poisoning everyone. Don't continue this after everyone knows all this information now, just because it's not convenient.
Dr. Hensley has already had one response. Spring City in Ray County is going to stop fluoridating its water, and it is that simple. I mean, there's no law. It's all voluntary, Dan, so anyone can turn on the fluoride or turn it off.
Dennis, let's make sure we're clear on this. Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste, but it's actually a poison, right?
It sure is, and here's the quickest evidence. Go to your bathroom and pick up your toothpaste, and you'll see a warning that if a child swallows more than a pea-sized amount of toothpaste, call poison control.
Wow. Dennis Ferry.